Welcome back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the first video. Wasn't too difficult, was it? I don't think so. Now we're going to start with question words so we can start to develop how to say full questions, full phrases, so you can move your way throughout Brazil when you do go there. Hopefully you do. So let's get to it. So first we have who, right? So in English, who translates to came. Now we'll come to something very important here because there's a lot of weird grammatical things that happen in Portuguese. And the first one we'll notice here is when a word ends with an M like this, it's more or less pronounced like an N, right? So it's not came. The sound will more or less be came. Right? So who? Came. Just like the word came. So who is this person? All right, so this is the president of Brazil. Her name is Dilma. So who is this person? You would say quem é essa pessoa? Who is this person? So you can say she is Dilma. Ela é Dilma. Ela é presidente. So quem. So next would be what. So que, just like the letter que. What is this? So just say okay. É isso. Isso, you'll learn, is a very important thing in Portuguese. So it means this, but it's sort of like an informal or just like a less grammatically correct way of saying it. So isso. So there are ways you can say this like essa, esse, este, esta, but more or less if you just say isso, majority of the time everybody will know exactly what you're saying. So it's a sort of a cheap way of doing it. It's a nice little hint. Isso. So what is this? Okay, isso. Right? So what is this, right? So that's a jaguar, right? So in Portuguese, jaguar is onça. So you can say he is a jaguar, right? Or she is a jaguar. Ela é uma onça. Okay. She is a jaguar. Okay, you can also just say é uma onça. Would be the same thing, just it is a jaguar. Okay. So that brings us to another grammatical point about Portuguese. So you see this letter here, this C with a little line, right? Call that C cedilha, okay? And what that does, it is actually an S sound, right? It's an S sound. So onça. That's it. It's just an S sound. Okay? And while we're doing these questions, it's important to remember the form of the verbs, right? So actually on the next slide, I'll write down a verb chart for the verb ser, like we learned last time, just so I can remind you, keep you in tune with what's going on. Okay, so I'll just write that verb chart here. So ser, the verb to be, right? We have eu sou, I am. We have você, ele, ela, é. So you, he, she. We have nós somos. So we. Then we have vocês, which is you plural, right? Use. Eles, elas, which is just they, right? And that would be são. Okay, just as a reminder, because like I said, that will be extremely important. So when is quando, quando. So when did you go to the doctor, right? So I just want to, a nice little example here. Quando você foi ao médico? Okay. So this right here is past tense. Don't worry about that. This word foi, it's past tense of the verb ir, to go, which we haven't learned yet. So don't worry about that. I just want to show you the form of the question, right? Quando você foi ao médico? When you went to the doctor. That's it. Quando. Okay. Next we have where. And this brings another interesting point about Portuguese grammar and pronunciation. And I will do a lesson specifically on these little intricacies. But now that they're appearing, I'll just mention it briefly, but later on we'll go in more depth about that. So, where is onde? Onde. 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 So, onde. Now, this is something very interesting about Portuguese pronunciation. When you have a word that ends with like a DE, for example, it actually gives a G sound. Now, it depends on regions. So some regions will actually say onde, but that's pretty rare. And in my trips and travels, I maybe have encountered that once. So it just becomes onde, right? So where is this? Where is this? So this is Rio, right? Okay. So you'd say onde é isso, right? Remember that word isso? So it sort of prevents you from using some of the more detailed words. It's just a general this, right? Onde é isso? It's a great helper word in Portuguese. Onde é isso? So where is this? Just say here. Right? So that brings another point about the Portuguese pronunciation. If a word starts with an R, it's pronounced like an H, right? So in Brazil, no one says Rio. It's Rio. Believe it or not. So if a word starts with an R, it becomes an H sound. Right, so the game goes the same thing for the word rat, right? So it isn't rato, it's hato. That's something I wanted to mention. And I guess it's beneficial for me to mention these things as we come across them instead of just saving them for another point. So as we come across these little grammar points, I will mention them from time to time. So where? Onde. So why? We have porque. So porque você visitou Brazil. So why you visited Brazil? Okay, I just want you to see the form of the phrase of the question. And don't worry about the verbs for now. We'll definitely touch on that later on. Just want you to get the form and how the grammar is for these question words. So we have how, so como, como, como. Okay, so how did you learn Portuguese? Como você aprendeu Portuguese? All right, so how you learned Portuguese. Right, that's it. Okay, so I want you to see the form of the question. Okay, so that's como, how, como, como. Okay, so just review, because I will admit, we did talk about some other things besides these question words, especially the little grammar points that I mentioned, right? But I thought it was good to mention those in the moment, right? So now we'll just talk about the words that we were intended to learn this lesson. So Cain, Cain, Cain is who? Cain, Cain, Cain. K is what? K, K, K. Quando, quando, quando. Quando is when. Onde, 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 where. Por qué? Why? Por qué? Por qué? Por qué? And then, como? How? Como? 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 So that does it for the second lesson, everybody. So I hope you enjoyed it. We have many more things to cover. So I hope you guys don't mind the slow basic things that always come first, but it'll get more interesting. And once we start learning about more specific topics, whether it's food or talking about travels or whatever it is, I guarantee it'll be much more interesting to learn. But like I said, you know, these smaller things always take time. Sometimes they're, as we say in Portuguese, a little bit chato, a little bit boring, but they're necessary. So until next time, até mais, as we say. Until next time, everybody, take care, and I'll see you soon.